For today's Hive session, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the sauces, dressings, and condiments category. This is going to be a thorough category review that's going to talk about what I feel is one of the most emerging category usages for honey and one of our biggest opportunities moving forward. So one big thing to remember as we go throughout this presentation is new sauces, dressings, and condiments with honey are outpacing new product introductions in the category as a whole. New product introductions actually dropped a little bit last year, whereas there was a 6% increase in products with honey. That's always a good sign when products with honey are outpacing the category as a whole. Why this matters is, we're going to only see more innovation in the sauce category for a couple different reasons. The big one is elevation. A lot more people are more accustomed to cooking at home since the pandemic, and they want to elevate their meals. So sauces are going to become a bigger part in sort of the everyday shopping list for consumers, whether it's something as standard as ketchup or whether it is something a little more exotic, such as a gochujang sauce. We're also seeing this movement towards more all-natural sweeteners and sauces, which is only going to benefit the honey industry. So if we look about what's trending, we've kind of highlighted three main trends and three what I think are great product examples. The first one shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. It's sweet and spicy. It's one of the biggest trends in the food industry, and honey plays a starring role in it through the sort of prevalence of hot honey products. What I think is interesting is we're seeing a lot of kind of diversification of these products. This product from Wishbone, one of the largest dressings manufacturers in the country, is a honey mustard, which you normally wouldn't kind of pinned to that sweet and spicy category, but they've actually came out with a sweet and spicy honey mustard dressing. Again, taking advantage of the hot trend. So we not only see this being used in sort of a honey that's been infused with chili, but we're seeing it being used in other sauce categories as well. Another huge trend is global favors. We're diversifying and varying our food tastes as Americans and more accepting and more willing to be adventurous, but it's always great to have kind of an anchor ingredient that you can feel familiar with, which is where we're seeing a big opportunity for honey. So again, this is what I mentioned earlier, a gochujang sauce, which is a popular Asian sauce, and they use honey in it, which really kind of not only provides a sweetness, which is necessary, but it adds that level of familiarity to the product. And then again, we're just seeing the greater use of all natural sweeteners. It didn't really matter before, whether it was a ketchup or a salad dressing. People really weren't reading the ingredient listings, weren't concerned that much with what type of sweetener was in their product, but now they are, which is why you're seeing a lot more condiment sauces and dressings coming out with honey in them, such as this Primal Kitchen, which is a large natural sauce brand, coming out with their Tad Sweet ketchup that is sweetened solely with honey. So again, we're seeing all these new opportunities for honey across the board. So why would food and beverage manufacturers use honey in these products? We've already talked about kind of what's trending and why honey's used, but let's dig a little deeper. The first thing is there's been a lot of criticism and complex ingredients used in this kind of category, where you had to get stability, you had to get emulsification, and you wanted sweetness. And food and beverage manufacturers used to use a lot of different ingredients to provide those things. However, once those kind of long ingredient listings that used unnatural ingredients started to be criticized a little bit, there's been a widespread effort to clean up ingredient labels, which has benefited honey greatly. Honey also provides that familiarity, which you see kind of honey being used on the front of packaging. It's sort of similar to what we see in the beverage aisle, where anytime honey is used to sweeten, it comes on the front of the package, which is very rare that any sweetener is on the front of the package. We see the same thing with dressing, sauces, and condiments. Here are three examples. This first one is Kin's Steakhouse, a large salad dressing, where they call out orange blossom honey right on the front of the label. So again, a French dressing, which normally traditionally wouldn't have honey in it, would have one of any other traditional kind of sweeteners in it, is using honey and calling it out to sort of provide that level of comfort with the consumers as well as familiarity. Then you have this Williams and Sonoma peanut sauce where they call out the use of honey right on the front of it. And then you can't get any more kind of marketing benefits of honey than this Brianna's dressing, which has this large picture of this honeycomb. So there's all sorts of reasons why sauce manufacturers are using honey, but really the main three are to provide a clean label sweetness that they can use as a marketing benefit. So moving on to kind of the functional advantages, because it's not just flavor and sweetness. There's also a functional reason to use honey in sauces, dressings, and condiments. And the big one is emulsification. So honey's not a stupendous emulsifier. It's never going to replace egg whites in certain things or more kind of commercially made emulsifiers, but it does carry some emulsification properties. So if you have a clean label honey mustard like this product that's made primarily with vegetables, honey will be able to provide that emulsification so you don't have to add in other added ingredients. Honey also has acids, which we've talked about on a previous Hive session. What these acids in honey do is it acts as kind of a pH buffer. So a lot of these dressings and sauce manufacturers want to get their pH to a certain level that inhibits sort of antimicrobial growth. And a lot of them have to add additional acids such as citric acid to their products to make sure their pH is low enough. Well, whenever they use honey, you can kind of get it. It provides an additional buffer to where you can get a lower pH with the use of honey, so you may not have to add other ingredients. So there's all sorts of reasons why sauce, condiment, and dressing manufacturers would use honey, not only from a flavor and sweetness standpoint and a marketing benefit, but also a functional reason. If you are working with any sauce kind of manufacturers that have questions about honey, don't be afraid to send them over to me. We've done research on this area and can talk to them about sort of why honey is great in these products. Have a great day.